Hi, welcome to Not Your Average Podcast, episode 5. And today we have a very special guest, Angel, also very much well known as Too Easy TV to on social media. Would you like to introduce yourself to the podcast?
What's up, everyone? My name's Angel Rivera. Born and raised in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, and yeah, I'm just glad to be on the podcast and glad to be talking to you, Andy. How you been?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, huh? How you been?
I've been good, man. Can't complain. Can't
Yeah,
complain.
yeah, I guess I wanted to start off with the first question is, since know you as a basketball dude, did you grow up playing basketball by any means?
Yeah, so I grew up in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Mainly Hispanic dominated community. So growing up, I always used to play like baseball. That was mainly like the main sport in the city, But I think early on, I grew an early love for basketball. Just my brother's playing, my brother's best friends playing, and I think I just grew a natural love for it. So yeah, I definitely played back in the day, and you know, uh, it definitely grew the love for me for basketball as a whole.
Yeah, did you play like middle school or high school varsity
Yeah,
or
so
anything?
so I actually I was actually a 4 year varsity player. At the school I was at, it was a Group One school in New Jersey, which is like a very small school.
Yeah,
In Perth Amboy. And my senior year, we went 24-5. We won our conference championship.
yeah,
We made it to our sectional semis, and we made a lot of noise that year. So definitely had a little bit of a good high school experience for sure on the basketball
yeah.
side.
Sounds like it.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
did you have dreams to play any like college hoops or anything?
To be honest with you, so
Yeah,
funny story.
yeah,
Like I always dreamed of playing like college basketball,
yeah,
and I remember like training with certain guys like in the area, New Jersey area, and I remember like this one workout. Um, I pulled up to the gym and I see CJ Wilcher, and I believe he's at Texas A&M right now. Um, and I remember like I asked somebody like, "Yo, how old is he?" And he was class of 2020, which is like my graduating class,
okay.
and they were like, "Oh, he's like your age, like he class of 2020," and that's where like my league dreams went like down the drain, cause kid is like 6'6", pure muscle,
Yeah,
and like he doesn't miss, and
yeah,
I'm 5'9", so I mean you're playing against some odds when you don't got height on you, so yeah,
yeah.
I definitely had dreams, but don't have the genetics for it for sure.
I was gonna say, since I also worked, since we both went to Radford University, and during my time there, I was also doing intramural sports, working it, and I saw you playing basketball on the team, and you were pretty nice out there. I would say, like
Yeah, yeah,
doing
yeah.
all those, showing those moves out. Yeah,
Yeah, I had to show up a little bit. I had to show up a little bit.
yeah. On to what is it? Your college experience. I know you went to Middlesex College first.
Yeah.
Just talk about your experience there as student manager, your college experience, and all that.
Yeah, so I enrolled into Middlesex College reluctantly. I think my mom really pushed me to go to college. I really wasn't um trying to go, especially during COVID. Um, and Middlesex College was a great experience. My first year I had no association with the team. I was a regular student. And then my second year I decided like, you know what, like I want to work in basketball. Like let me become a student manager. And shout out to Coach Mike McClendon. He gave me the first real opportunity to work in college basketball, and he gave me a lot of freedom early on to just really be myself. Be around the players, do the social media stuff for the program, and I was helping him working out the guys. I got in practice a little bit, played with the guys a little bit, so it was a good overall experience. And it was a Division 3 JUCO, so
Oh, okay.
it's the
Yeah.
lowest level JUCO you can get. And I tell people till this day, like I think I had the most pure joy, like being around the game of basketball at Middlesex College because it was just a whole lot of vibes and it was just a great time, a great learning experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then forwarding to your transferring to Radford University, how was that experience and how was everything with there? Because that's where I found about you and your content
Man,
and how it inspired
so
me to push myself later on.
now for sure. So,
Yeah,
I believe it was summer of 2021. So I just finished my freshman year at college. Um, and I'm working at Hoop Group, and I've been working at Hoop Group on and off for the past 4 or 5 years. Um, and we're at Summer Jam Fest, and is one of the biggest events in the tri-state area for live period. And I went to go get dinner with who's now the GM at LaSalle, Safet Castrat,
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and I didn't know him at the time. You know, I worked with his cousin, who's now a director at Team Rio. Shout out to Nas. I have to do that. Um, you know, and and shout out Khalil too, because he gave me a real opportunity. You know, he really brought me under his wing, and we can get into that later on. Um, when we had dinner, and after the fact, me and him created a great bond, started texting each other, got on a call here and there, and it was a real brother, like brother relationship, big brother little brother relationship. And in the middle of August of 2021, he flew me out to Virginia for a couple of days. And he gave me a tour of the campus, and he told me, like, look, like, I have an opportunity here for you. Like, Coach Darius Nichols and his staff are going to take care of you. Like, I think it's a really good fit. And when I went my first when I went to campus for the first time, I just felt like it was home. Like the hospitality, the people, the Radford community. Like, I really do consider Radford my second home. And you know going to Radford, especially my first year, we had a really good team. Brian Antoine, Justin Archer, we had Josiah Jeffers, Shaquan Jules, just to name a few. But that whole team was amazing. Daquan Smith, and then you go year two, and it was a little bit rocky. But I think one thing that I learned throughout the entire season was going through adversity, and getting through adversity, and being able to stay level headed through the ups and downs. So Radford, I look at Radford as a very life changing experience. Not even just for basketball, but off the court stuff as well. Like, I learned a lot from Darius Nichols and his staff. And I'm very appreciative for Safet for everything he's done for me. Just taking me under his wing, showing me the ropes of the game. And then obviously, Coach Darius Nichols, Coach Shane, Coach Tim Pete, you know, Coach Reno, Coach Jack, and I'm missing one more. Did I say
Coach,
Sweat?
yeah, no, you didn't say sweat. I
Yeah,
was,
and
I
Coach
was
Sweat
just,
for sure. Like, those guys really taught me a lot about the business. So yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun, especially with the social media stuff too. And I'm just proud to say that I'm a Radford alumni.
yeah.
And I definitely say that my Radford experience was definitely amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, since you left, and my connection with the team was I followed them on social media, pretty much the coaches, and
Yeah.
Coach Sweat pretty much reached out to me saying that if you ever wanted to come to a game or practice, just come and shoot. After you left, they didn't have nobody else to shoot, so they give
Yeah.
me a wonderful opportunity to keep growing and build my own product up, which I'm grateful for at the same time.
No, yeah, for sure, man. And you
Yeah,
definitely did your thing.
yeah,
Definitely
appreciate
did
it,
your thing. Definitely
appreciate
did
it.
your thing.
And then I was gonna say, I believe you did sports management as your degree too, right?
Yeah, so when I went to Radford, I graduated with a bachelor's in sport management. And that was definitely something that I wanted to do. And shout out to Dr. Martin, Dr. Ayers. Like,
Yeah.
definitely taught me a lot about the business, not just with basketball, but the total landscape of the sport industry.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I did the exact same major actually and graduated
Yeah,
with that. So
I
I
think
like
we had a class. I think we might have had a class together.
yeah. It's like so many students and so many
Yeah,
people pass by, yeah. So
yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yep. And then before I get to you shooting it, what you shot, I want to say when did you pick up your first camera and who inspired you to get going with that?
So growing up, like, I've always been a fan of documentaries. And I think one documentary in particular that, like, really, like again, like, helped me fall in love with the game of basketball was In the Lab by Devin Williams. And that documentary right there just inspired me to just create content around basketball. Storytell, highlight players that need to be highlighted. And kind of level the playing field. I feel like a lot of kids nowadays um get overlooked because of the media. But when I picked up my first camera back in I believe it was December 2018. And I remember I was saving up money from Christmas and my birthday. And I remember my first camera was a Nikon D3500.
Uh,
And I
yeah.
had the exact amount. for the camera, and my brother pitched in like $20-$30 for like the taxes, and and I remember like from that day forward, like I told myself like if other people are gonna invest into my dreams and my aspirations, like I'm gonna have to take this far,
Yeah,
because like it's not only at the expense of myself now, is at the expense of my family. So it's definitely been quite a journey, since then, 2018. I've been through a lot, a lot of ups and downs in my basketball journey myself,
yeah,
but yeah, Nikon D3500 back in 2018,
yeah,
and the rest is history, they say.
yeah. And I was piggyback off that. So you said support from people. Is it like you getting a lot of support from your family and friends just because it's for like a minority to be a
Um,
minority and to
I would
be
definitely
yeah
I would definitely say that, like just being Hispanic in the basketball space, in the sports space in general, I don't see too many people like me, like I don't really know
uh,
too many other Hispanics that are trying to make it into the industry, and it's hard, like, and for yourself,
uh,
I don't know how many opportunities I get, if I don't go to Radford, and that's through the grace of Coach Darius and his staff, you know
yeah
like I've been blessed enough to be in the rooms with the right people at the right time, um and yeah, and to kind of answer your question, a lot of people from our community, I think, definitely supported me from the jump. Like I was born and raised in Perth Amboy, lived in the same house for 20 years. My
yeah
my father was a police officer. My mom always showed face around the city when, me and my brother were playing sports. So, um, I think when I kind of picked up the camera, and like I didn't, I tell people all the time, like, you got to build your own community, and I didn't go out right away and started filming like top players. Like I started off with my best friends,
yeah
like kids I went to high school with, kids I played AAU with, you
yeah
know and I felt like that right there built the foundation of what I wanted my brand to be about, you know. So to answer your question, yeah, like I felt like my community played a huge part in my growth, as a creator, as in what I'm doing now, um, and yeah, I really I wouldn't be in the position I'm in right now without the people that supported me, for sure.
yeah that's totally fair. I put blessings towards like other people that give me those opportunities. Like my first ever game I ever shot was flag football at Radford Intramurals. Like opportunities like that, I just remember like look back and go like I'm fortunate enough to get those opportunities and then to build upon that and build my skills later on and learn more from it all.
Yeah, now definitely your first shoe is always be one to remember,
Yeah.
and like I remember the first game I shot. My dad took me and one of my childhood friends. Um, we went to watch Roosevelt Catholic, and one of the first players I shot was Nas Reed,
Oh, so
and he
yeah,
plays for the Timberwolves now. So
yeah,
just seeing how long ago that was to where I'm at now. The kids I'm shooting now, and the kids I shot and
yeah,
covered in the past, like, is definitely crazy. You know.
yeah. You might see him get a starting role next year, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
man.
Start from the bottom
Man.
up there now.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah. And then for all the camera heads and all the content creators, what is your current camera gear and your setup, your go-to setup?
So my go-to setup right now is, I'm rocking a Sony FX30 with a 17-70 f2.8 Tamron lens, is an APS-C lens,
Okay.
and then obviously I have like a cage setup, Rode mic, monitor. So it's a simple run and shoot type of setup,
Yeah.
Um, but I think I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think my next purchase may be the FX2.
FX2, yeah, the new
Yeah, I
camera.
may trade
Yeah.
in my A7 IV for that, and try to cover the rest for that, because that camera
Yeah.
is amazing.
Do you think the viewfinder would be weird to use?
To be honest with you, probably not. I mean, I
Yeah.
used to shoot on a Sony A6600,
Okay.
and the viewfinder was kind of similar. It wasn't as big as it is now,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you shot with an APS-C camera before, especially in the Sony line, that viewfinder really shouldn't be anything crazy.
Yeah, I never shot with the Sony APS-C really, but I use Canon APS-C, but I'm currently only rocking the, what is it, the Sony A7 IV with the 17 to 28 lens Tamron,
Yeah,
and then the 35 to 150 lens from
yeah. I
Tamron,
mean,
which
I always wanted the 35 to 150, but I never gotten a
yeah,
chance to get to it.
I actually found one on Facebook for 1200 bucks, and I drove an hour out to Martinsville, Virginia, just to meet someone halfway through from North Carolina for it.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, the power of Facebook market.
yeah, I love it, I
Yeah,
love
for
it.
sure.
And then to move on from that, you last year spent your time at Florida State University, right, as a graduate
Yeah,
assistant. Am I
yeah,
correct?
yeah.
How was your experience there? And is
So Florida State was pretty interesting, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to even work at Florida State. Like I was a 23-year-old graduate assistant, from Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Like me personally, if you would have told me this 5, 6 years ago, I probably wouldn't believe you, you know. And and my experience at Florida State was definitely humbling, in a sense that the basketball space is definitely bigger than what anybody thinks it is, Like the business is really hectic. I don't even know how to explain it. To be honest, that I'm lost for words. Like I've seen so much throughout my time at Florida State that I feel like I came out there more mature, as a person, as a professional in the basketball space. Like being under Coach Leonard Hamilton, Coach Jones, and that entire staff. I mean, we're talking about basketball savants. Like I'm talking about practices very very detail oriented, um like second to none. I mean, we're talking about NBA personnel in the gym, former NBA personnel, so it gets close. It's damn near the NBA. It's as close as you get, you know. And also on top of that, being around the guys that I was blessed to be around. I had opportunity to be around Malik Ewing, who's at Arkansas, and Jerry Dink, who's at North Carolina State. I had a pleasure to be around them every day, and I really saw what it takes to really be like what it takes to be a top guy, a top level guy in this industry. You know, Jerry Dang, and I'm gonna tell everybody right now, he's gonna be a pro. Like he works his butt off. Malik Ewing, skill second to none. And the rest of the guys too, like Jameer Watkins, he's about to be in the NBA this year. He has his name in the draft. So I mean, when you're around that type of that level of talent, you know, it's crazy. It makes you realize a lot of things about basketball, and that if you want to be great in it, you really got to put in the work, because there's really levels to it. Not everyone could play at that level. It's not meant for everybody. So
yeah,
I
I did.
definitely say I definitely say that my time at Florida State was just like Radford, life changing. Definitely life changing. I'm definitely grateful for everybody that played a part, in that opportunity as well. Because it really helped me out.
Yeah, I was gonna say like people always say like to get to somewhere you want to be at the top, you had someone had to had helped you during the journeys each time. Without
Yeah,
them, you will never get to where you want to be. Not even nobody's like that in life.
yeah. I mean, funny story. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like my
Yeah,
second week there, we have a kid on an official visit, and one of our coaches, Coach AJ Register, he taps my shoulder. He's like, "Look, like we have Terrence Mann at the gym. Like I think we should go." Like, and at the time, like I'm a graduate assistant at Florida State. I'm not there to do any media stuff, you know. But at the end of the day, that's the value that I brought to the table. So like I was able to get in the gym with guys that I never thought I'd be in the gym with, like Terrence Mann, like who plays for the Hawks right now. Like that's the
yeah,
first NBA player that I legitly say I shot. You know, so just very blessed.
yeah, that's true. Like just take every opportunity you can get, and like every time you get the opportunity, uh, mind my language, but just work your ass off. Like that's what I always
Yeah,
be thinking. Like to people like that are new at this grind, I always tell them connect with people, be friendly, show your value, and then people always hype you up and bring you along and be the best reference for you later on.
yeah, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, in this business, it's about who you know. Not necessarily what you know, but who you know. And I feel like my journey in basketball is like a proven like testament of that. Like
Yeah,
I felt like just me being. I don't want to toot my horn, but I feel like me being a good human being, like it definitely got me in a lot of doors,
yeah,
you know, and I still have a lot of genuine relationships with people that I used to work with. So, I mean, basketball is more than just a game. You know, like it really helps you out all around.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then to back up all that, I wanted to talk about Battle of the City specifically. Like, what does it means to you, and how did you start it? If you started it, and if who helped you out with that process and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So, Battle of the Cities was founded back in 2020. You know, my partner and I, Ish, you know, also known as Ak, he one day he went to a park, you know, during COVID, and he was playing pickup with some of the guys in the local area, and he came back and he called me, and he was like, "Yo, easy, like we need to do something. Like these kids aren't playing. Like we need to put a game together." And I'm like, nah, like let's not put a game together. Let's do like let's put together some games together, different towns. You know, let's kind of serve as a summer league for the guys that didn't get the opportunity to play because of COVID. You know, so our first year we did it in August, and it went on to it, like mid August, and it ended like late August. But then you know, the following years, you know, like I've been able to have the support of, you know, the Perth Amboy Police Department, the city of the recreation department of Perth Amboy, you know, and we've been able to do it in my hometown on one of the courts that I used to grow up playing on, you know. And obviously, you know, this doesn't happen, you know, by myself. You know, like my partner Ish, like we've been hand in hand on this for a while. You know, this is going on to year 6. You know, we're having our event in August. Um, you know, so it's definitely still in its growing phases. I mean, we had our ups and downs. You know, as an organization. I mean, we're young, year 6. First year we didn't have refs and official jerseys. In year 3 we had year 3, 4 we have Elliot Cadeau and Todd Pettiford. You know, so um, I still think we have a. I don't think it reaches peak yet. Um, I think we have a lot of room to grow, and I think that when it's all said and done, I think that Battle of the Cities is gonna be, I think, one of these staples of summer basketball in the tri-state area. You know, and you're talking about, and I'm thinking we could be in the same conversation, you know, as Dykeman basketball, you know, leagues such as New York versus New York. Like those are the places and the areas that I grew up watching, you know, like in the summertime. So just trying to bring that to Jersey, you know, and trying to elevate the culture in New Jersey is definitely, you know, something that I want to continue to do, you know, and I think the game needs it.
Yeah, that's good because I was gonna say like I always hear about the New York versus New York and the Dykeman stuff and all those
Yeah,
big tournaments there, but just to see Battle of the Cities, how you started it from the ground up to be where it's at now, I think it's still really impressive because you can see the growth of it from even last summer to now in the
yeah,
content too.
definitely.
Yeah,
Nah, I appreciate it.
yep. And I was gonna ask, what are your future plans for Battle of the Cities coming up in August and then the following years and
Yeah, so I think one of our future plans is definitely to expand, you know, add more cities, maybe be a little bit more versatile with our events, because you know at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to do, as well as Ish and everybody that's involved in Battle of the Cities, you know, I think we're just trying to grow the basketball community, you know, and I think a big part of it too, and it's something I've been taking pride in lately, is that a lot of kids want to play basketball, you know, and at the end of the day, like I've been blessed enough, you know, like my parents always been able to show me what the world has to offer, you know, from playing sports to education. Like I've been blessed, you know. And some of these kids, you know, especially the kids that I see now, like they don't have the resources, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the people to, you know, elevate them and show them what this game can really offer them, you know. And that's where I think my passion and my drive um for the game, I think rises. You know, and I think that's where Battle of the Cities comes in, because you know every summer, you know, my partner and I, Ish, like we get to bring some of the top kids from not even the tri-state but in the country to pull up to Perth Amboy, New Jersey, a Hispanic community, a town that's, you know, like we're a basketball town, but you know a lot of kids play baseball. They don't really know what's going on, and we're bringing out top kids, and we're showing these guys like y'all could do it just like them, you know. And we're gonna continue to do that. We're gonna continue to grow the game. So, um, that's pretty much my future goal with Battle of the Cities. I mean, I think the event itself is always gonna be what it is. But I think deep down is about impact, you know, and and it's bigger than just the event. It's about growing a community, helping kids, and and just putting and ultimately, in my opinion, just helping kids go to school for free.
Yeah,
You know,
that's very
so
appreciative. I was gonna say like bringing communities together, especially Hispanic community where basketball is not big in, I always say not super big in Hispanic culture because my girlfriend's Hispanic and all that. Like I never hear her talk about basketball ever or her family ever. If they ever talk
yeah,
about anything soccer or maybe baseball every now and then, but like even if you see the pros NBA, like you only see like one guy ever like in the modern basketball, Juan Toscano Jr., which is
yeah,
it's pretty like rare.
Like Jose Alvarado,
Yeah,
he's like there's a lot of like great Puerto Rican talent,
yeah,
you know. So I mean, it's crazy. Like the world's so big. So
yeah,
there's a lot of talent. It just has to be. I feel like the game just has to be grown a little bit more.
yeah, for
You know.
sure. And then next one is, have you ever shot any other sports besides basketball?
So so when I was at Radford year two, right? So
Yeah.
my senior year, I've had the opportunity. I got an opportunity to work with Radford baseball.
Okay.
And that was an amazing experience. I definitely appreciate the coaches over there for giving me the opportunity. And it definitely like broadened my horizons when it came to um like the way sports works in general. Not even just the media stuff. But baseball is a sport that I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm Puerto Rican, I used to play it, but I used to hate watching it. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think coming back to it now, I'm a little bit older. Like then I was 20, I was 21, 22. I'm 23 now. Um, and I think revisiting the sport and working with the team and being in the sport in a different dynamic made me appreciate the game a lot more. And I definitely appreciate all those guys, welcome treating me really good, like welcome me with open
Yeah.
arms. So I'm definitely appreciative of everybody at the Radford baseball program, and I'm definitely a big fan and big supporter of the program
Yeah.
because they gave me an opportunity, and I'm definitely appreciative of it, and I learned a lot.
Yeah. Was that the year with the new coach, right, and everything?
Yeah, I think yeah, new
Yeah,
coach, yeah.
because I was gonna say like I think my first year, 2020, 2021, I worked with the baseball team as a student manager myself with the old coach, and then following that, actually I decided to give up that because I didn't like doing managing side of it all because people.
Yeah, Coach AG, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like people don't actually understand how hard it is to be a manager, what sacrifice it takes to be one, and it's probably the one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life actually is be a student manager. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I don't know
nah,
about your
definitely.
experience.
And I mean, even when I shot the sport, like I'm thinking like you could follow the ball and like it's basketball.
Yeah,
I think baseball it's a game of patience. Like you really got to take the approach differently. You know, so I mean, I think shooting wise, it made me approach making videos and creating content. A lot. It made me a lot more versatile per se. So it definitely helped me out a lot.
yeah. And then to move on from that, I wanted to ask you about. I know that you have a YouTube channel and you started that documentary series for what was it, Antoine?
Yeah, Brian Antoine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brian Antoine, yeah. And just tell me about how you got the idea of making that and what inspired you to really go forth with that
Um,
documentary series.
So to be honest with you, like I said, like I've always wanted to dive in, making documentaries and stuff like that. And I think having the opportunity to work with Brian Antoine and and with the Radford men's basketball program, like I think it created an opportunity not to just showcase like Brian's journey, which essentially what it was, but you know to show everybody what it is to be a part of the Radford men's basketball program, and I think the phrase that Coach Darius Nichols is showing the love wins. Like I think that's shown like 110% within those 2-3 episodes that I dropped.
Yeah,
Like if you see the team chemistry, the way the guys were interacting with one another, the way the coaches talk to one another, like when we're talking about team chemistry and the togetherness of the program, like it doesn't get better than that, you know, like not at all. Especially with Darius Nichols, like one thing he's gonna do, he's gonna bring together a team that likes each other and that's gonna play hard for one another, and that's a recipe for winning. So I mean, that I think that within itself, like originally, I'm gonna be honest, like I'm thinking is gonna be a Brian Antoine program, like not program, but like series, like documentary series. And like after when I'm editing the videos, like I'm like I can't make it about Brian. Like I got to make it about the entire program because everybody has a story.
Yeah.
You know, like Brian has the platform. McDonald's All American, Villanova.
Yeah.
Jersey Shore, 2,000 point score. Like he has it all.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story. So I think that was my biggest inspiration behind the documentary. And I still have a lot of the footage, that I
Yeah.
haven't gotten to release yet.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
maybe down the line, I get the time to, and really put some stuff together and really show everybody the experience that I had, in Radford, not even just year one, but stuff I have from year two. And and just show everybody like, look, like I feel like that's what basketball's supposed to be, the experience, like
Yeah.
you're gonna win games, you're gonna lose games, you know, but it's about the people that's next to you, the people that you're working for, the people that you spend your time with every day,
Yeah.
and I think when you watch that documentary series, I think that's what I showed, just experience.
Yeah, I think I watched it probably like 3 times to be honest with you. Like the first episode, like you pretty much pointed out Antoine, and then the other parts of it you pretty much diverted to the rest of the team and the players and everything else, and how they were had the family camaraderie and stuff,
Yeah,
especially all that stuff, and how you play your part in it too. How the
yeah.
players like to having you on the team and everything too.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got along with all those guys, man.
Yeah,
Like when I feel like I can call all of them family, like literally, like when I'm like for example, like Justin Archer, like my relationship with him has grown tremendously, since I met him,
yeah,
and not even just people on the team, but people on campus, like the people at Radford was overall just great, but especially on the team, like yeah, like all those guys are my guys, like I had a relationship with everybody, even guys like Onye, like man, like Onye, me and him had a really good relationship. We talked a lot. When we used to kick it at on the road games. But yeah, everybody for sure have a great relationship with. I try to keep up with everybody.
okay. Even the players that have moved on to overseas and all that stuff too.
Yeah. I mean I try like I hit up Joe Jeffers
Yeah,
maybe like 2 3 weeks ago. And
yeah,
different time zones. We all got something going on. It's hard to keep up with everybody,
yeah,
but I feel like I can consider everybody that I've worked with so far family. Like if I have to spend the majority of my day with you, like I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make sure that
yeah,
we're having a good time. Because at the end of the day, like this business is gruesome.
yeah,
Like you know yourself, like
yeah,
even like as a content creator, as a GA, as a coach, like the moment you wake up, you're on the clock.
yeah.
Like at
That's
any
fair.
given moment, you may have a deliverable, you may have something to do that you have to execute on. So
Yeah, I was gonna say like I feel like working in sports, even as a content creator, you're making a lot of sacrifices, like away from family, long hours, you're tired, or you might not be eating the healthiest sometimes on the road. But it's all about the passion and the grind to get to where you want to be at the end of the day.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yep. And then my other thing is, do you have any advice for aspiring sports creatives out there that wanting to be in a position like you have been, or trying to get to a better place themselves?
Definitely. I mean, the one thing I would say that I think got me where I'm at now is being a good is just try to be genuine. Like just having a genuine love for the game and being a good person. Like at the end of the day, like you can't be selfish in this game. Like it's one hand wash the other, wash the face. And that's what I've learned, the past couple years, being in this space. When I first really got into working in sport, specifically in basketball, I was a 17, 18-year-old kid that didn't know nothing. I was just pointing a camera to just shoot basketball blindly. But I think being at the places that I've been at, working with different programs, being around different coaches, like you understand the business, you understand the politics, you understand the marketing behind everything. So now being in the position I'm in now, I feel like I'm moving with purpose. Like I'm moving more with purpose. Like I'm being intentional with what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
You know. So I think it all goes back to just like I said, just being open, being able to network. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. If I don't sit down and have dinner with Safat, I'm not talking to you right now. you know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's true.
And I
Yeah,
know people now like they not really trying to network. They just trying to shoot games, make mixes, and like
yeah,
think they're gonna get on like that, and it's cool, but you got to know people in this business.
yeah,
It's not gonna happen. So yeah, I mean that's the one thing I would say. Just get to know a lot of people, build a lot of genuine relationships, because you never know who becomes who in the business, and you always want to make sure that you keep in tabs on all the people that you generally care about, you know, and
yeah.
make sure you cover your tail on for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Because I was gonna follow up that with like saying like I've seen creatives where like I go to like a big event, maybe like since I don't know if you ever worked like made hoops before.
Yeah, I worked Kobe Me Hoops
Yeah, so like
event
I worked
before.
made
Yeah,
hoops before, like, and I'll post something, and then some like high school kid or some other people will like reach out and say, "How'd you get those opportunities to shoot that?" And I don't want to just say you gotta know people or you gotta do this, but just because they're not being friendly to me, they just want to demand how do you get to those spots, like just wanting the answers automatically without
yeah. I
building that
mean,
connection.
and I think another thing too is like, and people don't want to hear this, but you gotta do a lot of free work,
Yeah,
like a lot of free work. Like I still do a lot of free work till this day.
yeah,
Like I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's not because I can't make money in this because I've been blessed enough to make money in this game, you know. But it's more of covering basketball. It's more about bringing awareness. It's more like I said before, just making an impact. Like I know people that's not gonna release, kids film unless they get paid, you know?
yeah,
And it's more the fact like, like I'm willing to help a kid because I know this film can get this kid a scholarship.
yeah,
Like I know this film or I know a text message that I send out to a coach or some sort like is gonna help somebody out, you know? And this was all about. Like if you're in this for the money, you're in the wrong game. Because the money comes and goes. It's about having a genuine love for the game. So if you don't have a genuine love for it, then I'm gonna be honest with you, like it doesn't even have to be basketball, like it could be sports in general. But if you don't have a genuine love for what you do, I don't think it's gonna work out like ever.
yeah. I truly believe that too, because like, for myself, like last season shooting for Radford, I drove almost an hour out every game I had to go shoot home game, and then for
Yeah,
playoffs, I drove 3 hours out, even after I had to get surgery for my hand and getting
yeah,
hurt. I still drove and make that sacrifice because it's the love of the game. It's more than just for yourself. It's more for like the game itself and the players that you built the camaraderie with and the coaching staff.
yeah.
It's,
And I'm gonna be honest with you too. Like even when I was at Radford, like I'm gonna be honest with you, like I love college basketball. Like I enjoyed my time at Radford at Florida State, but I love high school hoops. Like there's something about high school basketball that I think is like the purity of the game. Like I was driving an hour 30 to go watch Oak Hill.
oh dang,
Like
yeah,
after class, like right after practice, like I would ask Coach Sweat, like, you think it's cool if I just go up to like a Oak Hill game and shoot? And he's like, yeah, like go for it, you know.
yeah,
So like high school basketball, like
yeah,
is my true love when it
yeah.
comes to basketball, especially summertime, especially in the summertime, like Dykeman, University of New York, and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's fair. I was gonna say shout out to Coach Sweat giving me
yeah,
the
shout out to
opportunity.
Coach Sweat, man.
Yeah,
Shout out to Coach Sweat.
yeah, he's my reference to go to LaSalle actually, one of my
Yeah,
references, and he gave me all that. So give him the shout out for that because I
yeah, for
wouldn't,
sure.
I wouldn't know to go apply to LaSalle at all without him. To be
I think
honest,
I shot an NIT game because of Coach Swat,
yeah,
So
like
he definitely puts his people on, and I'm definitely appreciative of him.
yeah, because I think he knows what it takes to be a non-athlete grinding to get to where he needs to be at, and
Yeah,
knowing that,
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, Coach Sweat. I'm gonna be honest. He's a basketball like Coach Jones, and
yeah,
he's a basketball savant. Like he knows he knows what he's talking about.
yeah, for sure. And then my very last question for you is there any dream athletes, teams, or brands you would like to work with in the future?
Um, to be honest with you, I don't want to be around the bush with the question. But I think my dream with all this at the end of the day is kind of build my own brand. Like, like I felt like I got to the point where, I shot some NBA guys, I shot a lot of college guys, like I feel like for the most part, I think I accomplished a lot, in the game. I still have a lot I have a lot more to do. A lot more to do. But I've been in this since I was 17. I'm 23 now. So it's like I think right now, I think my dream with all this is just putting people on that I want to put on, you know?
Yeah,
Like working with athletes that I feel like need what I could provide. Because at the end of the day, like I would love to shoot for Kevin Durant. Like that's my favorite player.
yeah,
Like like I would love to shoot for one of the players that I used to grow up watching. Like I would love to shoot Isaiah Whitehead. Love to.
yeah.
I grew up watching him at Seton Hall, Miles Powell. Like me and my dad was watching Seton Hall games from the nosebleeds, watching him play.
Oh,
Those are
yeah,
players I would love to film.
yeah,
But I feel like I feel I'm extra motivated when I'm building something, rather than trying to work on something that's already established. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much my answer to that question. Like I would love, like my dream, Kevin Durant, you know, but I think ultimately like I need to continue to do what I do now, which is trying to build the community really on what I got going on, and I think right now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think is building Middlesex County basketball. I think that's the main thing right now.
yeah. That's very like my own dreams is like just trying to do something I love to do, like record basketball or any sport in general, but mainly basketball, and then show that minorities that they can do that too, instead of having to be pushed to always be a lawyer, doctor, or whatever
Yeah.
engineer. And those are also ways to make your American dream happen in life.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, like I didn't know what I wanted to do,
Yeah,
when I was 17, 18. Like even now, like to an extent, like I love basketball. Like I want to continue to work in basketball,
yeah,
you know? But exactly what, like some days you wake up and you don't really know. Like
yeah,
I love the creative content stuff. I think I always have a camera in my hands,
yeah.
you know?
That's fair.
But like long term, like sometimes I wake up and I ask myself, can I do this for the next 10, 15 years? You know? And I think that's where like even now, like I'm learning even as a creative, like sometimes you have to turn a pivot. Sometimes you may have to do some things that, you may not want to do or that goes against what you're about, you know? But at the end of the day, if it's gonna help you grow into or and get you into the position that you need to be, that you want to be in, then you got to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. And then you said your mom pushed you to go to college, right? Specifically?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I guess do you appreciate her for pushing you to go to college and get all these new experiences that you wouldn't have gotten without college?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Like
yeah.
like my mom went to college.
Yeah.
My mom was my mom was born in Puerto Rico, raised in the Bronx, New York. Like
Okay. Yeah.
she's seen a lot. With her time growing up. And my dad, he's born and raised in Perth Amboy, comes from a Puerto Rican family. You know, but like I said, he was a cop in Perth Amboy for 20 plus years. So like the goal was to always go to school and graduate, you know but growing up in the environment that I grew up in, like sometimes you question it, do I really need to go to school? Like is it worth it?
Yeah.
And some people my age were oblivious to it, like nah, I don't need to go to school. And it's like for some of them it worked out, you know but for me, like I had to see what the world has to offer, and that's what I think school does.
Yeah.
Like you get to meet new people, you get to experience new things. Like you get shocked culturally. Like my
Yeah.
first couple weeks in Radford, I was in a culture shock. Like not something that I'm used to. But at the end of the day, like if my mom doesn't push me to go to Middlesex College, my in 2021, like maybe I don't finish college at all. You
Yeah.
know, but the driving force of my parents, my brothers, like both my brothers graduated from college. Like I'm trying to go 3 for 3, like trying to
Yeah.
trying to graduate. So I mean, I made it happen. I mean, it wasn't really hard to begin with, to be honest with you. But yeah, like I definitely appreciate, my mom really putting the pressure on me to go to school, because, I feel like getting an education is more than going to class.
Yeah.
Like you have like is more than that. Like if you just show up to class and you do your work and you just go back to your dorm and do whatever, like you're not getting the full college experience.
Yeah.
Like you have to network, you have to make meaningful like connections and relationships, and really like get to know these people, you know?
Yeah.
Because in 10, 15 years these could be the people that help you get that job, that help you build your business, you know?
Yeah.
So that was pretty much my entire, like I said, like the entire time going to school, like I knew I could do the schoolwork, but I had to make sure I got the most out of it. And that's kind of, that was kind of my avenue, my perspective on it.
I definitely agree with that because like my opinion on like especially our major doing sports management is more than just the in classroom content you learn. That's probably only like 50% of what we to get to where you want to be at. You got to connect with people, work in the industry, and show people you have the drive to get somewhere you want to be at the end of the day.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like I said, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like funny story, like I was gonna go to the University of Mount Union in Ohio,
Yeah,
and I really wanted to go there. And I was gonna go there to just have fun. I wasn't gonna even gonna
yeah,
do anything, to be honest,
yeah,
you know. And I gotten like a financial aid offer maybe like a week maybe like a week before school started.
yeah,
And my mom was like, "Yo, like if you want, like we go to Walmart right now, get everything you need, and we go. We go drive down there right up there right now. And we go settle you in college,
yeah,
you know." Like that's how badly my mom wanted me to go to school, you
yeah.
know.
That's
And I
right.
think and where my dad kind of comes in, like he made me really like he gave me a reality check, and he was kind of like, are you gonna go to the school to do schoolwork, or are you gonna go out there just to get away from home, and just have fun?
Yeah,
So I think that's where like Middlesex College really became like, all right, cool. Like growing up, that school's kind of like frowned upon. Like you don't go to Middlesex College.
yeah,
I tell
yeah,
everybody till this day, Middlesex College is the best decision I ever made in my life.
yeah. It's your foundation, right, to everything.
Foundation,
Yeah,
foundation of everything.
yeah. Like I don't know. This conversation kind of reminded me of what we you go to intro of sports management with Dr. Ayers, right? And
Yeah,
what is the first thing he ever asked you is, what do you want to do in sports?
yeah.
What did you? I was just curious. What did you say to him when he asked you that?
Definitely. I told him I wanted to be a sport agent,
Okay.
and I think even now, like, I think that's I still want to pursue that.
Yeah.
I think my journey to that is gonna look a lot different,
Yeah.
you know, and I feel like one thing that maybe I gotta do a better job in is not putting myself in a box.
Yeah.
Like I feel like most of the time, like I be feeling like I wouldn't even say embarrassed because I take pride in what I do.
Yeah.
Like I love creating content. Like I love doing stuff with the camera. Like I grew up on that,
Yeah.
you know. But I think now I think I'm trying to change the perspective, and in all reality, I just got to do it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where now I feel like I said before, like just building my brand. Like I feel like building my brand right now, scaling it, you know, doing what I know I can do,
Yeah.
creating an impact, and I feel like I can get into that position. Ultimately being an agent,
Yeah.
representing players that I want to like represent, and really bring the joy of basketball back. Because I feel like even now, like when you talk about kids and how people handle them, and when it comes to college recruitment, all this extra stuff,
Yeah.
like I feel like people lose sight of the bigger picture, and I feel like I think the game of basketball is very simple, you know.
Yeah. I agree. I think a lot of it comes to what a lot like older NBA players talk about how AAU is ruining the game or
Yeah.
NIL is like ruining it in some capacity where players only focus on the money now instead of the true process of getting to where they need to be at the
Yeah,
time.
and I'm gonna be honest with you, like
Yeah.
even in the AAU world, like money's always been passed around. Like like money's always been involved in basketball,
Yeah.
even when it wasn't supposed to be, you know. So I think now that I think they made it so-called legal to pay kids to play, like I feel like to an extent the game is losing its natural feel, because you got kids that are committing to schools not because of the coach, because of the money,
Yeah.
and then they see themselves on the bench not doing anything, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you came to the school because you want to collect 100,000, but now you set your pro career behind 2 3 years because you chose a bad school.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say like even like some people look down upon mid-major schools, but like even last season, like we had a guy named Jarvis Moss came from Stanford, and he was the
Yes.
top player at Radford. Like he was awesome to watch in my opinion, just even to
Yeah.
watch that. And then
I mean, even to be honest with you, like Daquan Smith is like a perfect example.
yeah,
Like I was like my first year out for my junior year, like I remember looking at his stats and I'm like, this doesn't show the full story, you
yeah,
know? And somebody that really was told to play point guard at Murray State was one of our best scorers in in the conference, in the
Yeah.
country, and in my opinion, I think one of the best scorers in the country.
Yeah.
I think the combination of him and Kenyon Giles, like we're talking about mid-major guards.
Yeah.
Like look at what KG's been able to do at UNCG, and now he's at Wichita State. Like
Yeah. Moving up real fast every year,
yeah,
right?
real fast,
Yeah.
and I wish guys like KG could get a fifth year. 'Cause I feel like that's what the game needs. Like I feel like we need to see guys like KG play.
Yeah.
Like he reminds me a lot, and I've been saying this since I met him, and I haven't really said it out loud. Like he really reminds me of Miles Powell.
Uh,
A dynamic scoring guard. You know, he size wise he's on the shorter end.
yeah.
But don't get fooled at all. Like he's gonna show up every time. And even with Quan, like Quan is gonna give you like 200% every game. Like
Yeah.
like me personally, the Quan Smith is probably one of my favorite players to to like film,
Yeah.
and that's my
Is he the guy that hit the game winner against West Virginia, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And then,
and that's my
yeah.
god too. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
And then
yeah,
I
for
was gonna
sure.
say, I think you brought King and Giles a little bit light when your video got posted on Slam University, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure,
Like every
for
time I
sure.
type in Radford basketball on TikTok, that video seems to pop up on it and
Yeah,
be a big
yeah, he's
highlight.
going crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you. So
Yeah.
like, I forgot. So we were in practice. I think it was the first official day of practice,
Yeah.
and Coach Nice he puts in this 3-on-3 drill, and and like long story short, like it's KG and two other guys. I can't remember who, and he's literally just he's on an island with everybody every time, And I'm from New Jersey, like
Yeah.
I'm from New Jersey, the tri-state area. Like I die to see stuff like that. Like especially in college where it's so team oriented, you're playing off different actions. Like it's a beauty to watch when you see somebody just get to it, you
Yeah.
know. And when I tell you, it was like that for the whole practice. It was like that for the whole practice. Maybe the next couple practices. I think the practice after that, he did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Like the stuff I've seen, and obviously the stuff you've seen too.
Yeah.
Like I know you could tell some stories about stuff you've seen in practice, stuff you've seen in games.
Yeah.
Like these guys could hoop. And I never seen anything like that since, bro.
Yeah.
And since
That's fair.
he came into practice, and I remember the score. Like I think one of the scores was like 60-48. If they had 60, he legit had 30.
Dang.
Like
Dang.
legit had 30, maybe
Yeah.
more. That's me being generous, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say like I think people overlook a lot of players just through size, pure size. But I'm
Yeah,
looking at it like I've seen some big dudes like produce like nothing in the leagues and stuff versus like smaller guys just be I don't know cooking all these dudes and being like 5'10" maybe and just doing it all just by pure willpower and speed.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a great time to wrap up the podcast and I appreciate your time and thanks for chatting with me. I'm just happy to get and talk to you for the first time after talking a few times online.
No, for sure. We'll
Yeah.
definitely chop it up throughout your time at the South, man.
Yeah.
And I just want to shout out Perth Amboy, New Jersey, man. I'm born and raised,
Yeah.
First ever podcast I've been on, so I just want to shout out my hometown.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring on start a podcast to bring on people that I think are creative and can bring knowledge and work in the sports world and maybe other professions too. Just being able to teach people something bigger than just themselves in the profession.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure y'all follow me at Too Easy TV for sure.
Yes. Yeah, great content. I follow all the time. Yeah.
Nah, I definitely appreciate you having me on here. Definitely, I'm definitely tuned in for sure. I
I
definitely
appreciate
appreciate it.
it.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me on here.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
Bye.